right? I need to get my Sonic facts up.
You've got Sonic facts.
I do. I've got so many notes about the thing.
Yeah.
See,
I was contemplating, like, do I just like get the notebook out? Do I start jotting notes? But then I didn't want to be the only one here that had notes.
Oh no! So I knew I was going to do it because I probably lose I'd probably lose it to things. I've actually got pages that I wrote.
Holy shit!
Of notes, that kind of thing. It's all scribbles, and bits and pieces and everything like that as well. But yeah, the thing is, I thought there's no point in taking down facts to a degree if the whole thing online is going to be, it's going to be there.
Yeah.
But I do have something. I'm going to read this out to you.
Okay. Hit me.
And this is something that I had to take a transcription of it. So there's the concept trailers for Sonic X. There's the second one, which you've seen, the Japanese one, that's got the weird supersonic thing.
I thought was the only one.
Yeah, I know. Well, funnily enough, there is an English one as well. And I've actually taken a transcript of the English dialogue for it.
Okay, I've not seen this.
It says, in a time far away, in a city without a name, it does have a name, but a battle for the soul of the universe rages. Sonic.
Oh, okay.
At the speed of blue lightning with the power of cool, he's the only hope.
Is that his power?
The power of cool?
Yeah. I just assumed Sonic thing was being really fast.
He's the only defense against the scientist of supreme evil, Dr. Eggman, as they say.
Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman, which I quite like. It's like...
Dr. Eggman, PhD.
Exactly, Gary Eggman. Dr. Eggman and his army of robots. All the thrills, all the speed. Catch it all in the Sonic adventure. It's one giant adventure after another.
I mean, they only made 2 of them.
Make giant adventures sound so boring. It's just another one over and over again. It said, man, blue lightning is fast.
Wait, just that?
It literally says, man, blue lightning is fast. There's more. But you need more than speed when Dr. Eggman gets the crystal rainbow stone.
The what?
The crystal rainbow stone.
The hyper emeralds?
No, the crystal rainbow stone.
Man, there's like, we're unloading a bunch of stuff here that I was not aware of.
It fucking gets better. To defeat evil, Sonic will need strong friends, like Tails, the genius mechanic. No, wait. Like Tails, the genius mechanic, and Amy, the mood maker.
What?
The mood maker.
Sonic will need powerful friends, like...
No, strong friends.
Strong friends, like...
Like Tails, the genius mechanic,
an
and
8-year-old.
the mood maker.
Okay.
There are new faces, Cream and Chow.
Cream and Chow?
And the master treasure hunter and fighter supreme, Knuckles, is in the middle of the action. Is there any power in the universe that can stop the power of Dr. Eggman? Who has the speed? Who's brave enough? The Chaos Emeralds. Nobody knows their full power, but get them, and yes,
Wait,
victory is yours.
Wait, they've mentioned the Chaos Emeralds in this, and also the Hyper Rainbow Crystals?
Crystal Rainbow Stone. I know.
Crystal Rainbow Stone.
I thought that's got to be a really bad translation, but no, they say Chaos Emeralds.
Okay.
So, nobody knows their full power, but get them, and yes, victory is yours.
I'm in.
Wait.
No, okay.
Who is this mysterious shadow? Is it true that he holds the ultimate power? The Sonic Adventure. Cool, courageous heroes fighting for the Chaos Emeralds. Coming soon to a TV near you.
Man, I can't wait. That sounds amazing.
It does.
Cancel the Sonic movie.
Well, so I had to write that down because I thought there's no way I'd actually believe that I was listening to it if I didn't write it down.
I need to go right after this. I'm watching that. I need to know that that's actually... It would sell me on the show. So I just watched that.
should we do some sort of intro or something?
Probably.
So.
I'm the world's biggest Sonic X fan.
This is Sonic Xperts. I'm Paul.
I'm Zack.
And we're going to be watching this terrible anime about Sonic from the early 2000s? Yeah.
Early 2000s.
Early to mid 2000s. We're fairly big Sonic fans, would you say? More than average?
Maybe. I'd put myself on slightly above average. I have dedicated several weeks of my life to playing these games on the internet. So, I mean, yeah, probably I'd say small Sonic.
Where do you start with Sonic? Where do you go back? I'm a few years older than you. So like
you are.
Where I started with and everything is like, so I remember there being like the Adventures cartoon on TV. I remember watching Sat AM.
Yeah.
Like that. I collected Sonic the Comic when I was
Sonic the Comic. Yeah. So I originally played the Master System games.
Oh, yeah.
Sonic 2 on the Master System, first Sonic game.
I'm so sorry. And you're still a fan?
I'm still a fan. Sonic 2, Sonic Chaos.
Not Sonic 1?
I did have Sonic 1, but not till later.
Sonic 1's the best one.
I did not like that.
Really?
It had these scrolling stages, and I just could not get on with them.
There's only one?
There might only just be one.
I think it's only one. I think it's only Bridge.
When you're a child, that's a lot of pressure to put on you.
But to be honest, I didn't play the Mega Drive one for years, and I grew up with that one. But it was obviously growing up and you don't have a lot of access to money and games and all that kind of thing. It's either play terrible Sonic 2, play Sonic 1, or play Alex Kidd. It's going to be Sonic 1.
Yeah. Sonic 1, you were like collecting the Chaos Emeralds in the stages.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, they're all blue.
Actually going over to the Mega Drive games after was a huge shock. Because I went from the Master System games to Sonic the Comic.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay.
So then I just assumed, so Sonic the Comic's like the actual main Sonic storyline.
Yeah, sure.
And then we go over to the Mega Drive games eventually, and it's just completely all over the place.
Man, I must have passed out or something.
So, apart from these great things that we're talking about, we've decided instead to do Sonic X.
Yeah, well, it feels like everything else has been taken.
Well, this is the thing. There's quite a few episodes of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. I'm not talking about that.
Yeah. Talk about disappointment. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. That's not Sonic. I hated that as a kid.
I liked it because it was kind of like Looney Tunes-ish. So it's quite slapstick and it's quite funny.
It felt so disconnected to the actual games.
Well, yeah.
It's coming from Sonic the Comic to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Those are not those characters. Sorry. Jog on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's not particularly real. But I still think it's got its charms and everything. Sat AM has been done to death, and that's going to lead on to Archie, and not Archie. No. I found, we were talking before about this, which I think is the low point in Sonic history, not 2006, is the Archie cover of Sonic balled up, crying, crying over a letter he's got from Princess Sally that's dumping him. I have got that comic. I have got it because I had to have that one. And I was going to bring it here today, but I didn't. Instead, what I did bring here today...
Oh God, what's this?
The Sonic X comic, issues 1, 2, and 3.
No! Based on the hit cartoon, new series.
Well, the funny thing is, this came out like years... I remember quite a while after Sonic X had finished.
Yeah, I do remember that. Because obviously, mentioning Sonic the Comic, I was a huge Sonic the Comic fan. And as soon as that finished, I had to move on to something else. So I did give the Archie comics a try. And I remember them... I'd stuck with them for much longer than I should have.
November 2005. Publishment of the... Yeah, so November 2005. So it's quite a... I suppose Sonic X was in its kind of finishing stages by then. If not already completely finished. I think I got a few issues of this before I realised it was total garbage and stopped buying it.
I don't think anyone could blame you for that. The original run of Sonic X was 2003 to 2005.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got those to pour over at some point.
I can barely contain my excitement.
But he'll need more than speed if Dr. Eggman gets the Crystal Rainbow Stone.
Sonic X, yeah. So had you seen much of it?
No. I'd seen a few episodes around the beginning. I've seen the first episode like 700 times. Whenever Sonic X came on, I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's always that first episode. I don't want to spoil my thoughts on the first episode just yet, but it did not convince me to stick around.
No, I quite like it. So, save for a few things.
Okay.
I do actually quite like it. I think if I've got to put myself in the mindset as well of I remember it being on CITV when we were younger, and I was probably a bit too old for it, to be honest. So that would have been about 2004-ish, so I would have been probably about 15, 16.
Yeah. Well, as we mentioned, you're a bit older than me, and I was feeling like it was a bit too young for me when it was airing.
It must have been earlier than that because I watched it. If I was 16, I would have been at college, and I was watching it when I was at school. So it was definitely earlier than that. But in those sort of days, you kind of took what kind of anime you get, and being a Sonic fan, then and kind of seeing that it looks a bit like Sonic Adventure, then
this released right after like Sonic Adventure 2 had just released. I'd love Sonic Adventure, so of course, why would I not? It's just going to be Sonic Adventure the cartoon, right?
You are aware that it does do Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
I am aware. I gave up watching far before that, so I've not seen how they actually bring it to screen.
So I've seen it all. I watched it all. The first 2 seasons, I think I watched as much of it as there were. I think it was airing up to about the kind of Sonic Adventure sort of stuff. So I remember going to the internet and on my dial-up or early broadband or whatever, like downloading like crap quality versions of the rest of it that was up to that point, because I think it had finished in Japan.
And jumping over to Newgrounds and watching whatever Sonic Flash cartoon is just released that week.
I was not quite that pathetic, but yes, I do remember them doing one of a Fullmetal Alchemist opening. It was on with the Sonic characters instead.
I think I've seen that.
I do remember that. Oh my god, that's quite embarrassing.
So here's my thoughts. Well, my memories on Sonic X. I remember episode 1.
Yeah.
I remember Sonic having to break Tails out of somewhere.
Yes.
I remember Knuckles showing up, being cool, and then leaving instantly.
Yes.
And I remember Sonic running a girl on a wheelchair around town. Those are my memories of Sonic X. It's a bit weird.
It is a bit weird.
It didn't feel Sonic. At least maybe you said it goes on to like actually recapping the Sonic Adventure games, but the first few episodes, at least what I've seen, they don't feel like Sonic, and that just put me off.
I'm going to spoil a few things for you. Not too much or anything like that, but I'm going to spoil a few things. So
okay.
It's in several different kind of story arcs and sagas. The first one is them kind of dealing with being in the human world, which again is weird since the games have always kind of portrayed it as always being the same world. Sonic's world never being named, but has always in American terms been called Mobius. I suppose we can still call it that since it never really has a name.
Yeah, they've said Mobius isn't the official name, but they've never given it a name. So
that early stuff is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. These first few episodes are going to be quite painful.
So that's the majority of what I've watched. So
I remember. So I haven't seen this as well since broadcast. Pretty much. The second kind of story arc is like a kind of like a Sonic Adventure prequel, where they kind of find the Chaos Emeralds and go on like it has a bit of directions. They need the Chaos Emeralds. Okay. I think they're probably trying to find them so they can get back home. But it ends with like a kind of big confrontation and things like that. I won't spoil too much about it, but there's some really terrible episodes. I think there's a baseball episode. I'm not gonna lie. Which I think is like the anime equivalent of like another anime equivalent of something like a beach episode, which there also might be.
Well, yeah, Dragon Ball Super pulled out a baseball episode. So.
Yeah, so you'd always get something in kids' TV, which is funny because baseball isn't really a worldwide thing other than it is just Japan and America.
Yeah, it's really not a Europe thing, that's for sure. So I mentioned this to you on the way over to my place to record this, but my YouTube recommendations did autoplay to one of the last-ish episodes of Sonic X.
Yeah.
And it opens on a spaceship.
Yeah. So
I'm in.
We're not even nearly there yet. So like after the kind of Chaos Emerald stuff, it does the Sonic Adventure, does Sonic Adventure 2, and kind of ties them together in like a decent-ish narrative. I remember it being quite good, but then again, I don't know how it holds up. It does something like Sonic Battle, but not for a couple episodes.
Okay.
And then it initially ends. Then there's an entire third season, which wasn't like consecutive. They made it separately and it aired afterwards, which is kind of Gurren Lagann about 2 years before Gurren Lagann came out.
Okay.
It is fucking weird.
Okay.
I'm not really going to say anything more than that. It is bizarre, but I also remember it being quite good. I can't really say much more than that, but I remember it being quite good.
So this is the hook that's keeping me in till the end, listeners. This is what's keeping me in.
Sonic will meet strong friends. Like Tails, the genius mechanic. And Amy, the mood maker.
We will get to episode 1 today, but we should probably go through the teasers first. There's like a kind of proof of concept teasers.
We've already touched on one of them.
So yeah, there's initially there's the first promo, which is I'd never seen it before, and you'd never seen it before about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, that was surprising.
So basically, for people who haven't seen it, it's that bizarre voiceover explaining that terrible script, which is very obviously translated very loosely from Japanese, over what ostensibly becomes the opening theme animation.
That's watching that clip. That is just the opening without the music, basically cut slightly differently.
So I've got some thoughts about what's going on in that. So I'd like, could you explain what it was that you saw exactly?
I saw Sonic running around a city that looks very similar to the city we end up with.
Right.
But there were other animal people.
Right.
Not present in the actual Sonic X we see.
Yeah.
Eggman was holding a crystal that was not a Chaos Emerald.
Was he?
He was holding something.
Yeah, but so this is the point. Who's the bad guy in this? Because it looked to me like Dr. Eggman.
PhD.
Was minding his own business. And Sonic was literally like racing towards to get him, causing several car crashes.
Yes.
And then stomping on robots and everything. But I don't really... Dr. Eggman was literally just sat down not doing anything and then like scared the shit out of himself because he knew that Sonic was coming over to his place to murder him.
Some thug is just coming to steal his little fancy gem.
So what the fuck is Sonic's problem?
I'm not sure Sonic was even being attacked until he started crashing cars.
No, exactly. He went to them. Dr. Eggman wasn't really doing anything.
Yeah, okay, no. Maybe you've turned me around on this.
Like, I was literally watching it just then. I was just like, what's going on? Because he's just going after him for no reason. There's like a hover car, which we never see again. There's lots of concepts in both of these teasers which are never fully developed. Like a hover car. Perhaps because you said that do you see a human?
I don't know if I can't remember seeing any humans. I just remember seeing a really tall Tails in like a jumper in one of the scenes when Sonic's running into like the cafe.
Archie.
Very Archie.
Do you think? My question is, with there not being any humans and everything, do you think this is a Sonic's World thing?
Yeah, I do not think going to a different world was originally part of this.
Do you not?
I don't know.
Well, that's interesting as well because none of his boring human friends are in this.
Chris is not there.
No, so
there was not a wheelchair in sight.
or Danny, but we'll get to that.
I think from the look of that, I think that is they were just basing it on Sonic's World, and that was going to be Station Square or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Just early concepts. Nobody really knows. Nobody bats an eyelid.
Yeah.
There probably are humans.
Shadow, Rouge, the Tornado. They're all in this original promo. So we've hit a point in Sonic where having human-like cities is not strange.
Yeah. Apart from in this original concept, Sonic's apparently a massive dick. It's just after Dr. Eggman. For no reason.
Again, going from STC, this is the most on brand I've seen Sonic in a long time.
Then there's the second teaser, which is probably a bit more closer to the finalized concept, which it's I don't really know how to describe the second teaser other than it's just kind of stuff.
It's just a fight scene.
Yeah, it's got Shadow in it that's who like launches off a big tower.
You've got Sonic going supersonic.
Yeah, exactly. So at least that's at least a decent promise of things to come, and at least it's kind of shows that if we get the Chaos Emeralds, then yes, victory will be ours
finally. And then we get a bunch of just like screenshots, basically, of a bunch of character designs.
Well, before that, even there is Nazo.
Yes, this is the first. Like, I had not watched this promo before we agreed to do this podcast, and I'd always just assumed that was some fan art that did not come from any sort of official source.
It kind of is. So it's called Nazo because the picture of it on a Japanese website was nazo.jpg. But everyone refers to him as the mysterious Nazo, but Nazo kind of means mystery or like enigma. So like
it is a very mysterious mystery.
Yeah, exactly. So it's nothing. I think some of the staff have come out years later and said it's like an unused design for Supersonic, but that doesn't really hold water because Supersonic's in that teaser. And
also Supersonic has had a design since Sonic 2.
Yeah, I think it's something that they tried and shopped around but couldn't really make work. Because I know a lot of the Japanese staff behind the Sonic Adventure series aren't really a big fan of Hypersonic, which is probably why he's never come again, that's probably what something like that is. Trying to go Dragon Ball with multiple transformations, but they probably just ran out of time to kind of make that thing work.
Yeah.
There's no way it could kind of fit within the series as it kind of starts to go on or anything like that.
Again, these are just promos probably made to they were made to sell the series to broadcasters and stuff, so they're just chucking everything in the kitchen sink in there.
Absolutely. What else can we put in? Yeah, try and do everything like that.
It's just interesting to see because Nazo became such an internet thing. Like, not so much these days, but back in the day, you could not go on YouTube or Newgrounds without seeing some Flash cartoon with Nazo fighting Sonic.
I know.
Looks like a big hedgehog. A blue hedgehog? Well, whatever it is, we better get it out of here.
Did you know that this was released, that the first episode at least was released on Game Boy Advance?
Yes. Yes. That stupid Game Boy Advance video player. We had some Pokemon Advanced episodes. Did we only have the one episode of Sonic
I think
X?
it might have just been the first one. I have no idea how much that cost, but I can imagine that was bloody expensive. So the quality is hot dog shit.
Oh yeah,
especially if you're watching it on original Game Boy Advance with no backlight. Well,
the quality of the best quality we can find Sonic X these days is pretty dog shit in and of itself.
It's not bad. It's not bad. You see a lot of that kind of early TV rip stuff. With you can tell legitimately as well because it's got a lot of like the Japanese stuff particularly has like the clock in the corner from clearly when it was on like breakfast TV.
Yeah.
The next thing that we talk about would be the title themes.
Yeah, we have the right one.
We've got three to talk about here. We've got three. We've got Sonic Drive. We've got Gotta Go Fast.
And Sonic X.
And Sonic X, which I think that's what the song's called at least.
I mean, there's not really many other things you could call it, to be fair. It probably doesn't have a name, but that's the right one. That's the correct one.
Japanese, Sonic Drive. Sung by, I thought it was, your man, Hironobu Kageyama.
Oh, good.
Which you probably don't know by name. But I do by name, because he's the guy that sang Chala Head Chala and We Got Power.
Oh, wow.
So it's about as legit as it could get.
I quite like the song.
It's okay. It's quite catchy.
It's catchy.
It's certainly better than Gotta Go Fast.
Yeah.
So here we go. Do you want the
This is the only one of the themes that actually tries to like have a proper song other than just repeating itself.
It's interesting you say that as well, because I feel that the opening scenes for it, everything is just all that reused teaser stuff. But because of that, it's just stuff. So generally in an anime opening, you'd get a lot of kind of scenes that would at least follow the music, but it's really bad at that. It's just a song and things happening with no rhythm or no rhyme. So as an opening, it's not particularly good. The only new stuff for it is the Sonic stuff.
Yeah.
Where you see the characters. But would you like to know the lyrics?
Oh, I would. I was trying to read along actually as it was it was playing.
So obviously Sonic go.
Yes.
Yesterday's rules are simply loose today. The best goal is to break them.
Yeah.
If I don't keep running, there's no other meaning. It's a punk philosophy.
Sonic is very punk.
Do you think?
Sonic's pretty punk.
So biorhythm is a 2-time rhythm. So it's funny they mentioned biorhythm because there's that's something that doesn't really translate, but that's in a One Piece opening as well.
Here we go. Paul is in.
Well, yeah, we're only saying that as well because that's also another 4Kids product.
Yeah. We're not gonna touch 4Kids One Piece, are we?
No, God no. But there's a lot of the same voice actors.
There's a lot in all the 4Kids stuff. They had a very revolving cast.
The scenery instantly becomes countless. Oh, sorry, no. The scenery instantly becomes countless lines. The wind envelops me. Inside, outside, attack, surpass everything altogether. I won't let anyone or anything get ahead of me. Inside, outside, go Sonic.
Now, I know that bit.
Oh yeah,
that's in English. That is
everything altogether. Yes, Sonic. Watch out and have a nice are similar.
Oh,
that's right. Both are by the skin of your teeth. Throw boredom away and start running. There's more verses than that, but I don't think we're going to go into the full version at least, because obviously we've got...
The opening feels very long in the show.
It is. I think it's still only... It's generally about 1 minute 30, so only have like a intro, verse, chorus, and outro. Then we've got the American opening, which unfortunately is on the Netflix release, which is Gotta Go Fast.
So we're not watching the version we'd prefer to be watching.
No.
But everything is identical except the intro.
Yeah, pretty much. Gotta Go Fast as well. I mean, for some reason, it's not Sonic X at the beginning. It's that. I don't really know what's the difference in why Europe has Sonic X as an opening.
I don't know. Did they maybe cut the opening down for time and they needed a different song?
Well, if anybody was going to cut it down, it would be the Americans. Because they are known to actually speed things up to get an extra advert in.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't believe I'm actually going to read out this.
Oh God. This is the song that's the whole Gotta Go Fast thing. Like, this came from Sonic X.
I didn't really get that for a long time. Only kind of people are really stuck on that ending thing, not realizing that it was the American.
Yeah.
It says, gotta go fast, gotta go faster, 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 faster. Moving at the speed of sound, make tracks. Never heard that bit before. Quickest hedgehog around. Got ourselves a situation, stuck in a new location without any explanation, no time for relaxation.
We did not even need to watch the first episode.
No, that's not bad actually, is it? It's like trying to get the point across. Maybe if they did it, it gets the point across well enough, doesn't it? Like, don't think, don't blink, just go. Sonic, he's on the run. Sonic, he's number one. Sonic, he's coming next, so watch out for Sonic X.
What is Sonic X?
It's just a fucking name. It's just something that sounds cool, I guess. that's probably it. Like, yeah, probably, I don't know. It probably just sounds cool. It makes a decent logo. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then, of course, there's the European opening, Sonic X, which is just Sonic X about 37
Sonic
times.
X. Sonic X.
It's the best of the three, I'd say. I don't know.
It's very catchy. I can remember all the lyrics.
I think it depends on who you are and what you like most out of that sort of thing. Personally, the one I like the most, again, maybe it's partially nostalgia, but I feel that if I was watching it as a kid and Gotta Go Fast was the opening, I don't think I'd like it as much.
No.
It
feels a bit too cheesy.
It's very pop punk of the time. Like ridiculously pop punk of the time.
At least I can respect the Sonic X for just being, you're watching Sonic X, mate.
But the instrumentation sounds quite a bit like the Game Boy Advance stuff, because the Game Boy Advance stuff has this like kind of organ stuff. To me, it sounds a lot more in line with kind of modern Sonic.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite of the three?
I quite like Sonic Drive, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you like it more now that you've realised it's a Hironobu Kageyama song?
No. It's been in my head since I watched the first episode.
Yeah, I think maybe possibly
this was my first like interaction with Japanese Sonic X.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
So that was the first time I'd actually heard it. Sonic X is the one I'm used to hearing, and I respect how simple it is.
That's simple.
I'm not a fan of Gotta Go Fast.
Oh, it's bad.
The visuals in all three of these are terrible. They are just clips from the promo trailers. Shadow shows up in all the openings from episode 1. I've not seen Shadow in the show at all. In the arcs I've watched,
when he enters in Sonic Adventure 2, he's kind of there for good then.
Yeah. But again, that's like, from the sounds of it, about halfway through the show, and he's in the opening from the beginning.
All right, okay. Should we get into the first episode?
I don't see why not.
Okay, let's do this.
Can't wait.
Man, Blue Lightning is fast.
Episode 1 of Sonic X is Japanese, Enter the Supersonic Hedgehog, and English, Chaos Control Freaks.
Okay.
Aired on the 6th of April 2003 and 23rd of August in Japan and United States. So quite similar, quite close together. I imagine they were probably developed quite similar at the same time. Which way around did you watch these?
I watched the Japanese first.
Okay.
And then I watched the Netflix version of the English.
Okay, me too.
So I'm going to be watching all of the English versions from Netflix. So if you're watching along, there you go.
If you're watching along, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you're watching along, I appreciate the support, but there's better uses of your time.
So initial thoughts, you did not like it.
So the Japanese version, I hadn't watched the episode in a while. This is my first time watching it in Japanese.
Right.
So I was paying attention. I didn't hate it as much as I usually hate the first episode. The music was very different from what I remember.
Music is something I've made a note of particularly. So again, probably better to talk about these at the same time, I suppose.
I think so. The changes between the two are subtle.
One of the things I hate most about 4Kids music, and it does this in all shows, does it in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it does it in One Piece, is reverse symbol.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you hear in an infomercial, for example, all the time. But I think in the first 10 seconds, there's 2 reverse symbols. What I will give it credit for, the 4Kids music, is I quite like Sonic's character theme. He's got a nice little motif that appears quite often. It appears a lot. Although, I have actually made a note on this, I was saying as well, that the music in the Japanese version and the sound effects are quite sparing. So there's a scene about midway through where he wakes up in our world, and it's completely silent with only sirens around, but there's fucking music just blaring at you.
Yes, watching the Japanese version into the American, the music was the biggest change.
Yeah.
It was really jarring.
Yeah.
And it made me really dislike The English version, if I just watched that on its own, I would not dislike it as much. But I think the music changes really just put a microscope on that.
I think there's
It's too loud.
I kind of want to talk about the English and Japanese voice cast, but I'll probably do it as the characters arrive.
Yeah. Let's start from the beginning.
So
go through.
The only real character to talk about in this one is Sonic. Interestingly, in Japan, all the Sonic media to this point, Junichi Kanemaru he's always the voice for Sonic. I think he still is, in fact, and has been since probably 1998.
They don't change their cast as constantly as we do.
No, but Sonic in the English is played by Jason Griffiths.
This actually brings in a change in voice cast for the games with Sonic X.
I think so. I think there's a few more. I can't remember if this is... I think this is before Sonic Heroes.
This is before Sonic Heroes, Sonic X releases, and then they use the Sonic X cast in Sonic Heroes onwards.
No, they're not in Sonic Heroes. No, it's the original cast in Sonic Heroes.
Are they?
Yeah, it is. 100% so. I think the first Sonic X cast game...
Oh, no, you're right, because Sonic Heroes has that horrible voice actor for Tails.
Yeah.
Press the B button again to release. Looks like something may happen if we hit the target with the ball. There's an Omochao symbol on this gate. Maybe we should ask that Omochao. Touch the checkpoint and restart from that spot when you lose a life. Each checkpoint increases the leader's level too.
During my research, found out as well that apparently they were going to get Ryan Drummond to voice Sonic, but because he didn't live in New York, where they were based, they chose to go with a new cast entirely.
Yeah.
People were really, really adamant on Ryan Drummond. Maybe this is a hot take. I think he's fucking shit. I actually think that his Sonic is so bland, boring. I have no idea why people love it.
I agree with you. Based off the Sonic we hear in this episode, I would take Ryan Drummond over the performance we get in this episode.
Really?
Yeah. Sonic, the first time he's voicing the character, but everything he says feels out of place.
Do you think?
I do.
Okay. I actually quite like Jason Griffith as Sonic. I think
I grow to like him, like as he gets late into the later games. By Unleashed was his last one?
Yes. He's gone by colours.
His performance in Unleashed is really good.
I suppose the other person to talk about that we can only see briefly is Dr. Eggman. Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman.
Dr. Eggman.
Played by
Mike Pollock.
Mike Pollock in English. And
First time.
I don't remember the Japanese guy. I think the Japanese guy is Chikao Otsuka, who I believe is Gold Roger and Big Boss.
Oh my god. Alright, I'm down here. Fact check that, because
I believe so.
Big Boss and Dr. Eggman, match made.
We're never going to stop being able to say that now, are we?
No, I think this is our thing.
Definitely Gold Roger, at least. And yeah, I think he was Dr. Eggman as well.
He's in Sonic X.
Chikao Otsuka is the Japanese voice of Dr. Eggman. So that's another crossover with 4Kids stuff, that they had a similar voice actor.
Yeah. Unintentional, but this was the first time Mike Pollock was playing Eggman, though. And he is Eggman now.
He's great straight away, isn't he?
He is. The audio quality of this first episode is bad.
That's not really necessarily its fault, though. Again,
no, it's just a product of its time. He has the character down from day one.
I agree, but I don't think he doesn't get particularly good until quite a bit later.
He doesn't have much to actually do in this episode. Outside of the very start, he doesn't really show up.
We start on the main character, Big the Cat.
Yeah, Big the Cat chilling. No Froggy though.
Froggy's there.
Is he?
Yeah, Froggy's there.
Okay.
Sonic is storming Eggman's compound.
We don't know why.
No, that's the point as well. I know I said about Sonic being a dick before. It's not necessarily why, because obviously Cream and Cheese have been captured.
So Eggman has done some bad things.
And he's got the final Chaos Emerald? Yeah, he's got the last Chaos Emerald.
He is prepping his machine for some big event.
But what is he doing? What's his plan?
We don't know. We're never told.
What was he actually going to do when he pressed that button?
I don't know. He had cream for some reason.
Did you notice that in the Japanese one, Eggman's robots were actually shooting bullets?
Yes, that's the first. So Sonic is running up, trying to infiltrate this base. The robots come out, turrets start firing. The first thing you notice, like changes-wise, fucking Gatling guns in Japan. We go straight over to the American version, just piddly laser beams. Pew 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 pew.
So you don't like that as a change?
No, I found it really jarring actually that it was a Gatling gun to start with.
Yeah, well that's the thing. Like,
I was like, holy, he's actually trying to kill this guy.
I suppose like there's like a gun in Sonic Adventure 2 of like the tank first boss thing.
Yeah,
but I feel that laser beams might actually be a bit more kind of appropriate. I can see why they made that change.
I can 100% see why they make the change. And I don't. If you're going to change something that's such a small thing, I don't really care. But I found it really funny that he was just shooting actual bullets at Sonic.
There's loads of big mechs that are sliding after Sonic.
They don't look anything like any mech you would associate with Sonic.
Yeah, I think they look a bit like the gun robots.
They didn't look similar to me. They look like just generic robot designs.
What would you reckon of that? Do you prefer more classic kind of wacky sort of animal things like from the classic series? Or?
I think so right now we're in Sonic's world, and if they're going to make a distinction between Sonic's world and the world he's going to go to, which is a lot closer to our world, I think in this scene, some classic badniks or at least animal-related designs going into...
So something a little bit more wacky.
Yeah, something to distinguish it from the designs we'll see later in the show, which look a lot similar to this.
I do actually agree. I think they probably have taken certain design aspects from the gun robots because they look a little bit, but that doesn't really make sense because that's...
Well, I'm assuming from what you've told me that the Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2 storylines happen in the other world.
In the human world.
So why would they even share designs?
Yeah, so again, that's maybe something that's not completely thought through, but it's just generic robots, isn't it? Like you don't care, which means the action's a little bit bland.
Yeah, Sonic is just running through, dodging them left and right, and eventually gets launched up in the sky, completely clowned.
Tails and Amy arrive, and they do their signature move, which is fuck all. They immediately get shot down, but throw Sonic a ring.
They don't throw Sonic a ring. They shoot a missile at Sonic that opens up and has a ring inside.
God. Okay, that's much worse.
So they do absolutely fuck all.
It was a spring, though.
There was a spring.
Didn't sound right.
Didn't sound right. Didn't look right.
But there was a spring. Do you remember that?
Sonic was launched in the air. He gets shot a ring, just a regular ring you'd expect from to see anywhere in Sonic. But apparently in this universe, rings make him super powerful.
Well, so that's, I think, possibly the first callback to Sat AM, which is bizarre, which there are several as we go along.
It's really weird in that just 3-episode stretch where they just change his voice actor to Jaleel White. Really?
That's not a thing.
Out of the blue.
No, that's not a thing. That's no good.
That's no good.
The ring is given a CGI ball power, which is apparently invincible.
Well, yeah, they can just get a single frame of Sonic and add a spinning ball effect over the front of him and just fling him around everywhere.
Yeah.
I do not see why he'd ever need to go supersonic if rings are this powerful, to be quite honest with you. He gets this ring, he just mows through all the robots he was having, trying to dodge out the way the last time.
Yeah.
Straight through them. Eggman starts locking down the doors on his fortress. Loads of doors. Sonic's just going straight through them.
Yeah.
He does not care. Why did he not just come in with this ring? If they had access to it, it's clearly broken.
Yeah, good point. Tails and Amy nearly crash into a rock, but Knuckles is there for some reason and breaks the rock so that they don't fucking die.
Knuckles saving everyone as he does.
It's quite a lot of box ticking. So for example, as well, in Eggman's control room where he's running his TARDIS console, that Rouge is just there. No dialogue. Nothing at all.
Is she there with Eggman? Or is she there to jump in at the right time and steal the emeralds?
I think maybe the implication might be that she's delivered the final emerald.
Maybe.
But she's just there.
No one acknowledges her. She's just stood up in the corner.
She might not even be working for anyone. She might be a free agent in that sort of thing.
That's what I'm trying to wonder. I can't understand if she was working with Eggman for this plan. I'm not dropping it.
I fucking wish you would.
Or if she was there to jump in and scramble the plan. Not that it matters, because it's going to get fucked up anyway. But there's just... They're ticking the boxes to say these characters are going to show up later.
Yeah. Sonic tricks one of the robots to fire at Dr. Eggman, but it misses and hits the console. And then the beginning of Akira happens.
We do get the first thing Sonic has actually said. He shares some words with Eggman.
What does he say?
I'm going to stop you!
But the Akira explosion that engulfs everyone. Now, there's something about this that I find quite funny. And it's that Knuckles seems to know that it's Chaos Control.
In both versions.
Well, funny that. In the Japanese one, he literally just says, Chaos Control. But, so, is that maybe what Dr. Eggman was going to do in the first place? Maybe transport himself to the other world?
I can't imagine any situation where shooting up a machine makes it do what it was intended to do.
If it was just maybe to transport himself.
Maybe. The actual design on this fortress looks very similar to one of the games, Sonic Advance 3, was it?
Oh, yeah.
So we do get some good shots of that. This whole thing's very reminiscent of whatever he was trying to do in Sonic Advance 3, which I can't remember, but maybe that was his plan.
Well, he pressing a MacGuffin button to do something. I feel like the English dub makes it sound like the tower, the tower itself was called Chaos Control.
What does Knuckles say? Chaos Control. At least it used to be.
Yeah, so is that maybe like the facility itself is to control Chaos Emeralds? Right, because the games basically have it as Chaos Control is something that Shadow and Sonic can do to harness the power of the emeralds.
Yeah.
But it makes it sound like it's the facility's name.
I don't know, because later on in the dub, Sonic mentions Chaos Control again.
Yeah.
It doesn't in the Japanese version.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe they're just chucking in words that people viewing will actually recognize from playing the games, just to make it sound more Sonic-y.
Yeah, possibly.
I won't be surprised if that's the case.
It's funny, other than that, where they add that line about Chaos Control, I actually think the dialogue is nigh on perfect.
It's pretty much in line.
There's not a lot of changes. The biggest change is the music in this.
Yeah.
Which again is fairly insufferable.
Your mileage may vary. After watching the Japanese episode, I found the entire dub was just way too loud.
The Japanese music isn't perfect throughout the entire thing. I remember it being quite tedious at times, but it doesn't scream at you in the face constantly like the 4Kids one does.
The Chaos Emeralds. Nobody knows their full power. But get them. And yes, victory is yours.
So after everything gets enveloped in light, including Big the Cat,
Tokyo 3.
Sonic gets into a very Final Fantasy scene.
I know, it's Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts might be...
He does meet Sora at the end.
Oh, God. Is Sonic X just Kingdom Hearts?
Sora Thorndyke, yeah.
Sonic is just laying down, pitch black.
So, the X is like Roxas.
It's a key, right? It's a Keyblades.
Yeah. It's an organization thing, isn't it?
Okay. Oh man,
I'm not even trying to explain.
We are uncovering layers here.
So the Sonic world will be in Kingdom Hearts 4.
I would make more jokes, but I'm not too well versed in Kingdom Hearts, and I know we'll piss off somebody.
Oh yeah, definitely. It kind of just wakes up in the middle of the highway.
Which is a quiet scene in the Japanese version.
Quite contemplative. Like,
Yeah, like, oh, is he having like a moment here?
yeah.
They look like car lights, but I don't know. The soundtrack is all over the place
Yeah.
in the 4Kids version.
Yeah, I actually I'm looking here. Japanese music and sound effects are used sparingly and effectively. What we go straight into then is stupid cops.
Yeah.
Don't they think it's like a cat or something like that? It's bright fucking blue. It's wearing shoes and gloves.
Sonic's woken up in the middle of the road at an intersection. Cars have all avoided him, and he's just caused this huge traffic jam.
It's clearly an alien or a monster or something. Like, why the fuck would you try and go after? The thing is, well, he hasn't really done anything, and everyone seems to go after it.
He woke up in the middle of the road. A police officer comes over to him. He's like, "Hey, I've got 3 cats at home. I can handle this giant blue hedgehog." Sonic can understand.
He doesn't look anything like a fucking hedgehog.
He doesn't, but we haven't seen a hedgehog in this universe, so maybe he does.
Of all the police, the notable one that I really thought of was that in Japanese, there's a ginger one. He's got a moustache. And I saw this, and I actually wrote a note. I bet ginger policemen will be Irish.
Why, you little...
Take it easy. I think we can handle this without getting rough.
Yeah, but
Duffy, get behind him.
Right, Sarge.
He was Irish as fuck.
I knew it as soon as I saw him. To be sure. That you knew straight away that he was... Everything to do with this, I've written down, is they call in an emergency, which I've got here quoted, a gigantic blue hedgehog is going wild in town. He's literally just running.
He's woken up and he's running away from people trying to grab him.
It's a fucking waste of police time.
Entirely.
They get a fucking helicopter after him. What's he doing? Nothing. He's just woken up in the road and suddenly there's a helicopter after him.
He makes a dash down the highway, not a car in sight.
Funnily enough, I think there's an answer to that.
Yeah?
Yes. So we'll get to that because they call in the S team.
I'm afraid that roadblock didn't work.
No! Don't tell me it got through!
Okay.
Bad news!
Don't worry. I think we've got what it takes to round up our furry little friend. Speed team, get ready to roll.
Yeah, every city has an S team. You know, the speed team, the fucking boy races.
The highway star himself. I think he's called Sam Speed.
He is.
They don't call him that in this yet.
In the Japanese version here, there is a cutaway as he makes his way down the highway. It shows a little title card. It shows a card of information about Sam Speed.
Yeah.
Not translated, unfortunately, but Sam Speed is in English.
I think they do get to calling him Sam Speed because I knew that. I think maybe in an episode later or something.
They've done this a few times. I think right after he wakes up, there's a cutaway in the Japanese version that has like a data card on Cream.
Right.
Neither of these are actually in the 4Kids version. They completely removed them. I guess they didn't want to translate them. But Sonic he's run down the highway. He's jumped over a giant police barricade. The cops basically go, "Fuck it, call the S team." And then Sonic's just like, he's chilling out on top of a laptop somewhere. He's not doing anything.
It's not hurting anyone. There's a monster, so call in the Formula One police.
At this point, Sonic has not made an attempt to talk to these people.
Yeah, but they've made an attempt to talk to him. How do they know that, well, the English or Japanese language is going to get through to an alien monster that's just appeared in the road? That's just running. Right. He's not fucking hurting anyone. But why did you call them the Formula One police? Which in itself is brilliant. I do love that.
I had thoughts about the Formula One police.
Again, they get called in because the police themselves are astounded at the speed of him because they're even casually driving at 75 down the highway.
They pulled out a helicopter for this fucking hedgehog.
There's a wasted opportunity for like a Sega reference. I was like, the steering wheel that comes down, they plug in. Could have been like a Mega Drive controller or a Dreamcast thing or something.
Of course, we get the whole scene where they're suiting up, getting the right wheels on.
Did you feel that the Japanese version of Sam Speed was quite cool?
So, but the difference I found, and this was really jarring. The Japanese version of Sam, he's self-assured, he's not cocky.
Well, that's it, yeah.
The 4Kids version that we get is a cocky asshole. I don't like him.
I feel that that's more down to the music villainizing it.
Maybe?
The dialogue is mostly the same. The performance is slightly more towards...
Maybe.
But it's the music that villainizes him more than...
The dialogue is still slightly changed. In Japanese, he seems way more excited about just having a challenge.
Yeah.
And even so far as when he is actually stepping in to go and race against Sonic, he's like, speeding in front of a cop is a bad idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the 4Kids version, he's like, I won't let anyone be faster than me.
I've got here an interesting note as well that I quite like, that Sonic's not an idiot and he knows he's in another world.
Yeah.
It's so tiring when they're like, oh, this can't be happening. I can't have gone there. So at least they're not wasting your time so much.
So while the S-Team is gearing up, we cut back to Sonic and he's just chillaxing on top of a lamppost somewhere.
As you do.
He's like, oh yeah, it's messed up. Must be in another world. In Japanese, he seems to think he's in another time and space, which I think is a bit of a wild leap. You've been awake for about...
It says space and time, so like that's just... Yeah, not necessarily... Yeah, at least he's not putting anything away.
No, at least we know like this isn't going to be 10 episodes of Sonic figuring out what's going on, because he basically says, I'm in a different time and space. Cool.
Yeah, so the S-Team catch up to him and they stop and literally start talking to him and say hi.
Hi there. You're a hard hog to keep up with. Hey, hold on. We don't get such fast company very often. In fact, I'm glad you showed up. This place is way too peaceful. Over the last 12 months, I've only made one arrest. Some joker got it into his head that he was a hotshot driver, had his own Formula One car and everything. I guess he thought he'd give me a run for my money. But it was all over in a minute. It took me longer than that to suit up. He never had a chance.
It's still an alien. It could be contagious, could be anything. And everybody just wants to catch him or talk to him. Or, in this case, Sam Speed wants to risk people's lives and safety just to have a race with an alien.
Yeah, there is no one on this road.
Because it's under construction.
Exactly, so he's not risking anyone's life but his own.
Well, still, they did call in...
This is a very long road.
And big as well, because it can fit 5 Formula One cars down it. In the Japanese one, Sonic Drive plays for no fucking reason.
No, I found that jarring.
Usually you use like the main thing to be a cool like, yeah, fucking, we're gonna kick their ass sort of moment.
Whereas in this, it's like, Sonic's a punk. Look at him.
Got this, boys. Formula One police.
Oh, they are so into this though. They spend like quite a bit of time watching them suit up and like, you know, we're gonna get the right wheels on. Let's watch them drive out as a team. They are really into this concept. That makes no sense.
The Formula One police is its own anime.
Yeah, it's not Sonic X.
No, it's a concept that they don't really go on as well, like for long. Do you know did you catch how fast they were driving?
No.
500 kilometers per hour, which is about 310 miles per hour.
Right.
That is about the record.
Right.
And Sonic ends up flying off an edge over a wind farm. So at least, he's put back a little bit as well. He's given them electricity. And
you can see the entire town lights the fuck up after Sonic blasts past.
Which I think they're reusing for the movie. It's in the trailers.
Is it?
Because he does like a Sonic Boom thing and it puts like the power grid out.
Oh, yes. Yes, okay. Maybe. It's kind of like the opposite, though.
Yeah, but that's still kind of the same thing, at least. Is the movie a remake of Sonic X?
I was going to say, the Sonic movie is just Sonic coming to a world with humans. So they're really teetering on the same sort of thing here.
It's Eggman's super sucky machine.
Then Sonic falls into a swimming pool. which we find out is connected to a mansion.
Yeah. Thankfully, the splash wakes up the child that lives there. Sora, from Kingdom Hearts fame. Which is a good thing because it turns out Sonic can do fuck all in the water.
Yep.
I know he sucks in the games, but he can at least move.
Yeah.
There is a ladder to get out of this goddamn pool, and Sonic just accepts his fucking fate. He's going to die here, and he does not look too worried about it.
That was close. Are you okay?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I didn't think you could talk.
Well, I can do a lot of things.
Wow, that's awesome.
And that's pretty much, Chris jumps in the pool to save him, and that's kind of where our episode ends.
Chris pulls him out, introduces himself, and finally Sonic talks to someone instead of just acting like a dickhead. How much could we have avoided if Sonic would just say, "Hey"?
Hey, what?
That's all he needed to say.
My name's Christopher. Do you have a name?
Yeah, I have a name. My name is Sonic the Hedgehog.
So you're not a massive fan of that, as an episode goes.
The Formula One cops are so stupid.
They are, but I quite like the idea as a concept itself. There is like a cheesy kids anime in the Formula One police.
Yeah. I preferred the Japanese version. Watching it twice, back to back, maybe soured my opinion on the 4Kids version so much. It's fine.
Oh my god!
It's an intro episode. It introduces the concept. We see Sonic's world. Doesn't look anything like Sonic's world, but we at least know
much of it though.
No, we didn't. We saw robots. My biggest problem with that is that everything we saw in Sonic's world, I could believably it doesn't look like too different to me.
Yeah,
I do think him instantly assuming he's in a different world is a bit far-fetched when maybe he's just moved somewhere else in his current world. They look similar enough to me.
I've got as a massive positive for the Japanese version is that Junichi Kanemaru's Sonic doesn't use any Jinglish at all. Usually it's like, "Oh yeah!" and like, "What's happening?"
No. That's what I want.
No, I'm really glad that there's none of that because it doesn't translate very well.
I'm sure we're going to get some.
I don't know. I feel like they kind of they binned that. I maybe we will.
I'm holding out hope.
I have a feeling that that's kept to a minimum quite a bit.
But yeah, it does what it has to do. It sets up the concept of the series. The problems I have with Sonic X don't really rear their head just yet.
No baseball episode yet.
We saw Sora, but he had very, very little to do this episode. The changes between the different versions, they don't really mean much at the end of the day.
Sonic! 僕らの世界でソニックの新たなる冒険が始まる
There's a sign. Oh my god! There's a sign when he wakes up that says it's a street sign pointing towards questions the street.
Right.
Which I think is amazing placeholder stuff, which they didn't get rid of because I think I noticed that in the English one.
No, it's still just workshop in the name. They'll replace the sign eventually.
All right, so they just don't even know what it's going to be.
They don't want to be stuck with a terrible name, okay?
The last thing to talk about with in regards to this episode is the ending thing, which I think is really funny because it's just pictures of Sonic watching the episode back.
Yeah.
Do you think it will be every episode, or do you think he's going to keep watching the first episode?
Well, if he keeps watching the first episode, that's just going to be my experience of Sonic X originally. So I'm glad Sonic's sharing that with me.
And he looks bored as fuck.
Yeah. I'd be interested to see if they do change it, just because that's like an effort that I wouldn't expect them to put in, to be honest.
No, especially not after just cobbling together that opening theme.
Yeah. To put such little effort into the OP to then actually care about the ending is weird.
Yeah, that is. It's stupidly weird.
So actually, I expect they will.
Yeah.
Because a lot doesn't make sense.
So that kind of brings us neatly towards the end of this Sonic quest of ours for today. Going forward, what are your hopes to see?
I want to make it to the video game adaptions.
Okay.
That's what I want to see how they handle that. I know we're in for some shaky territory.
Yeah.
And wheelchairs. And that's fine. That's fine. I'll power through it. I'm already dreading learning more about Sora.
Yeah. We'll get to his friends.
The problems, looking back on what I had seen about Sonic X before we took on this task, was I always felt that there was too much focus on the original characters in this show over the characters you came here to watch.
Yeah.
And I feel like the start of the show is likely going to be the worst of it.
Yeah.
So that is what we have ahead of us. But I'm not going to lie, seeing that clip of the fucking spaceship, I want to see how we get there.
It's fucking wild. We've got the worst stuff to come. It gets a little bit better after that. You're in for I think that you'll get properly rewarded for your time for sticking out how crap the first two sagas are. And I really hope that the others are as good as that.
We will see.
What we would like is probably people to send in their thoughts, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what everyone else thought of episode 1 of Sonic X.
Well, and if anybody wants to watch along with us, it is all available on Netflix. There is an archive online of the Japanese ones.
Yeah. Watch whatever version you want.
Or both. Or neither.
Yeah. We'll try and recap the episodes as you go. So if you just want to listen along to a bunch of people complaining about Sega products, then hey, this is the podcast for you. We love doing that.
Well, I suppose we've also got these fantastic Archie Sonic X comics to go through at some point as well.
Oh, yeah, they made 40 of these.
40.
Man,
that's fucking long. I'm not reading all of that. I know there's 78 episodes of this shit, but that's
I think we're just going to cover the one episode next time.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. The next one, which I think is like a Area 51 episode.
I think this is the introduction of Tails.
Yeah.
So if I remember this episode right, Sonic's gonna jailbreak his friend. Sonic is not on the side of the law so far.
No, well, the law's fucking stupid anyway. Formula One police and everything like that. I think it might be the reintroduction at the end of Dr. Eggman as well.
I hope so. Eggman is my favourite.
Eggman. So if you want to reach us, you can reach us at Sonic Xperts on Twitter. Where can they get you, Zach?
You can find me at Sir Doctor on Twitter.
And you can find me at Unthusiasmpaul.
Or you can find me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/respawnpoint. I do stream some games sometimes. Sometimes they're Sonic games.
Awesome. Well, there's nothing else to say other than bye.
Yeah?
What's a Sonic way to say goodbye?
I feel like we're going to be taking a few episodes to get this right.
Yeah, right. Well, probably. So I suppose what we're going to do now, at least, is sit on the couch and fall asleep listening to this podcast back, like Sonic would do. Probably.
That's the Sonic X experience.
Okay.
We've been your Sonic Experts. See you next time.
Oh, that's a beauty. Bye.